I apparently listened to 53,257 minutes of music last year, which is a lot. But I figured I should do something useful with this time and incredible knowledge of music. My music. Specifically my music library. So here's the best album of 2023 based on the percentage of songs which I added to my forever scrollable liked songs playlist. Number 20. Logic, College Park. When I first heard this album, I actually liked it a lot. But when it kept coming on while I was listening to Shuffle on my normal playlist, I just couldn't stand it anymore. It has way too long interludes and skits which are pushed into the songs instead of being on separate tracks. And due to that, I gave the album another listen, and it ended up with me removing every single song. 0%. Number 19. Drake, Scary Hours. I am not a Drake fan and will probably never be, but when I heard that he had released an extension of his previous album, For All the Dogs, which was also released in 2023, I thought that I could give it a listen, since I heard that it would have some calmer songs, which resonates more to me. But I don't know, there's just something with Drake's music that I just can't stand. So, only for the extension, since I haven't heard For All the Dogs, this gets 10%. Number 18. Killer Mike, Michael, Deluxe. Here's another new listen for me, and I know that I should have heard Killer Mike before, since critics mentioned that they miss when hip-hop was rapping. Motherfucker, if you did, then Killer Mike will be platinum. Amazing, Kendrick Lamar quote. I really enjoyed this album. While it, of course, had some ups and downs, otherwise it wouldn't land back here, there were barely any songs that I really had to skip immediately as they came on, but there were some projects that interested me more this year, and therefore Michael only gets 44%. It sounds weird to say Michael when it's Killer Mike, but it's the name of the album. It just feels weird. I'm not on a first name basis with Killer Mike, but I do recommend that you go give it a listen. Number 17. Earl Sweatshirt, Weirder. I don't know how to pronounce it. Boyer Dyer. There was something off with this album. It was produced by The Alchemist, and I usually like his work, but for some reason I just kept zoning out, and nothing interested me on it. Music should catch your attention for way longer than just a few minutes at a time. For that reason, it gets 45%. Number 16. Lil Wayne, The Fix Before The 6. This is the album to prepare people for the Carter 6, which is a series that he has been releasing for many years. He has iconic songs like Lollipop, Fireman, and Mirror, and I thought that I could give this album a listen since I haven't properly listened to any Lil Wayne projects before. It was a very interesting listen, but not every song was good enough to add to my playlist. Like, I could listen to every song and enjoy it, but not all of them deserve a spot on my very nitpicked liked songs playlist. Even though that's the fact, this album gets 55%. Number 15. Kids at Play, Kids America. I watch way too much TikTok. Not as much as my friend who keeps getting spoiled on his first Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough, but still. This happy group of people keeps coming up during every single mindless scroll through I do. And I finally decided to give them a listen. And it was so worth it. Like, the dynamic and their voices and everything. I just easily get bored of the same voices all the time. So it was fun to have a bigger group with interesting people and interesting styles. I didn't enjoy all the songs, of course, but in general it was a great listen. 57%. Number 14. Kojak, Phantom of the Afters. Here's yet another TikTok find, Kojak, an Irish rapper with a very interesting style on his latest project. I found him too while scrolling through TikTok, and suddenly this weird looking man just showed up. If you know anything about Kojak, I think you know what clip I mean. I'm of course talking about Ballad of Jackie Dandelion. It instantly caught my attention, and I just had to give it a listen. So he definitely succeeded in his marketing. I was disappointed to see that short skit wasn't on the album, because it would have been fun to just hear every now and then or whenever I gave it a listen, but oh well. Overall, it was amazing. Due to the stark contrast of me loving some songs and not really being able to listen to others, this sadly only gets a 60%. But I still urge you to give it a listen. This is actually where my system of percentage liked ranking fails, since I can listen through this entire project and be like, oh, this is the album of the year. But it isn't according to this. Number 13, Westside Gunn and Then You Pray For Me. Right before this drop, I listened to Pray For Paris, which is his previous drop, and seems to be a series of sorts. This was an interesting one, because I always turn away from tracks filled with ad-libs, and if you know anything about Westside Gunn, he uses ad-libs a lot. But even if you don't like ad-libs, like, fucking hell, you've got to love Westside Gunn. I don't know if he tries to be serious with them or not, but I just love them. They're so funny. The angelic and classical sounding beats in the background mixed in with his high-pitched voice is such an interesting combination. My favorite track is Kitchen Lights, ayo, ayo, and the whole project gets 67%. Number 12. Brent Faiyaz, Larger Than Life. This is a similar case to how I listened to Westside Gunn. Right before I heard that Brent Faiyaz was dropping again, I just finished listening to his previous project, Wasteland. In general, I love this album, but none of the tracks really stood out to me, and others just ruined the vibe of the rest of the project. Therefore, this gets 71%, but it's really a great album to have on while studying. Number 11, Tyler the Creator, Estate Sale. The extension of an already great album with a surprisingly short title. Call Me If You Get Lost, The Estate Sale. I reckon he should add deluxe to that too. It's not often that I keep an eye out for new albums, but with this one I really did, because I had heard the previous version of this, aka the shorter one, and I just wanted more. So for those of you wondering, this is an addition of 8 tracks, and I base this on all 24 songs. Certain tracks required some time to grow on me, for example Dogtooth, but Wolf Talk and Sorry Not Sorry were instant hits for me. This gets 71%. Oh, and my friend bought the vinyl. Is blue. Number 10, Nas, Magic 2. Please don't release multiple albums in one year. Like, I can definitely listen to and enjoy them, but not the same as something I've got to wait for. I don't have much to say about any of his free projects from 2023. That's right, I said free. The only thing I can comment on them is, I liked the tracks, the calm energy is nice on the Magic series, and One Mic, One Gun. It's very cool. 73%. Number 9, Travis Scott, Utopia. I've never actually listened to any Travis Scott projects before. Of course I've heard some of the songs, but I've never sat down and given it a proper listen. And the word catastrophe really didn't help, and it gave a bad taste in my mouth. But when I heard that he would be dropping and I didn't have anything else to listen through, I was like, why not? The Yeezus inspiration is apparent, and I love it. Experimental synth and perfect calmer moments is way more than I could ask for. It's also fun to see a Swede on there, Young Lean. From the mysterious intro, by a quick break on the outro of Sirens, all the way to the final note, I loved it. Somehow, I have the CD standing in my shelf as well, 79%. Number 8, Nas, King's Disease 3. 2 trilogies were finished in 2023, both King's Disease and Magic. I actually went to see Nas and Wu-Tang Clan live this year, and this album was very prominent during his part of the show. Surprisingly, I didn't like the most popular tracks on this one. Instead, I prefer Reminiscence, First Time, and Once a Man, Twice a Child. It still doesn't go well to release 3 tracks in 1 year, but 82%. Number 7, Sampha. Is that how you pronounce it? Lahai. Thank you, Mr. Moral, for showing me Sampha. I had never heard of him before Father Time on Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers, but after that, when I heard he was releasing a new album, why not give him a shot? When I tell you that I couldn't be any happier that I did, I am telling the truth. This album made me feel like I was floating on every note, and I just love how you can delve deeper into the lyrics if you want to, but also enjoy it on a surface level. This album gets 86%. Number 6, Nas, Magic 3. For some reason, my script only says refer back to number 10. That's weird. 87%. Never Die is the only one I remember. Number 5. Andre 3000, New Blue Sun. I'm a huge fan of Outkast. And yes, I know that Andre 3000 is not just Outkast, but he is at least 50% of it. Even though this was going to be a very different album and genre from what I usually listen to, I still had to try it. My life has been very stressful lately, and this gave me a fresh breath of air. I would usually not have the patience to sit through something like this, but it came out at a perfect time when I needed it the most. That first listen on my bus ride home from school was the definition of chef's kiss. 87 minutes of calm gets fittingly 88%. I honestly wish there was 1% less. But for some reason math doesn't work like that. Dreams once buried beneath the dungeon floor slowly sprout into undying gardens didn't really hit like the other 106 word long titles. Number 4. Grim RT, Yellow. Grim just released the new version of his album Yellow, with better audio and clearer vocals. I liked this as soon as it came out, even with the legacy version, since I can't include the new one because he for some reason had to release it in 2024. Funny enough, I have different favorites between the two versions. I believe that the heartbroken emotions of Let It Be Shown comes across better on the older version, while Lighter, it's an instant hit on the new one. As you may notice, my primary genre is hip-hop and rap, but the fresh breeze of acoustic music and singing, with some rap thrown in, it was really nice. As we've gotten into the sections of hundreds, I'll be ranking this purely off how likely I am going to re-listen to this and how often. Also, you can guess what it is then. 100%. Number 3. Danny Brown, Coranta? I've never before this listened to any of Danny Brown's solo projects, and I really don't have a reason as to why I gave this a shot. Either way, I am happy that I did. As you already know, it got 100% from me, but here's why. Like I mentioned before, a boring voice is something that I get so bored with, but Danny Brown's voice is definitely unique. Furthermore, you can tell that he put in time and effort into this project. I hate when rappers just overproduce stuff that just passes the bar of okay. I know from earlier that Danny Brown has a special sound, and I will keep listening to it in the future. Number 2. Kodo, For the Tribe Disc 1. You may be asking yourself, who is Kodo? I found him in 2022 when he released his single Dust in My Weed, and really enjoyed the album connected to it. But this one easily tops it, especially since it is double the length, even though it is only 22 minutes long. Every minute is combined with head-bopping beats and great lyrics. His voice really helps too. My personal favorites are Duty Stains, yeah, that's a real song title, Strong Black Hair, and Heavy Head / My Conscience. If you just want a quick taste of this music, I really recommend you go and listen to those, since it covers all the moods. Easy 100% Kodo. I can't wait for the next one, and I am happy that it's coming just next month. Number 1. Lil Yachty, Let's Start Here. My company had a very calm moment of 2023. I definitely recommend listening to this for late night public transport rides. As you can tell by my rap, I have plenty. This project is an absolute curveball for my music taste and Lil Yachty's usual genre, which I actually don't like. But like many of the stories you have heard throughout this video, when I heard that he was dropping, I had to give it a chance. The experience while listening to this really changes depending on how and where you are listening to it. If I sit on a bus late at night listening to this, I feel like I'm being put to bed. Like somebody's singing a lullaby for me. And that is a really dangerous combination when I have another one to catch. While if I walk around, I become the main fucking character of anything. Even that fight where some lady is across the street yelling at someone else and I have never spoken to them before. As you can hear, I love this album. And I'm really pissed off that I don't have it on vinyl yet, but at least it taught me how to play the bass guitar due to Drive Me Crazy. Speaking of driving me crazy, I'm tired of writing the script now, so I'm just gonna mention a few favorites of this album and stop talking about how amazing it is. So my favorites, in no particular order, is Drive Me Crazy, which I mentioned before, Pretty, and The Black Seminole. So there we go. All the albums I listened to during 2023 ranked. And if you only listen to your 6-year-old playlist that hasn't changed one bit since Stereo Hearts was considered good, go give these a shot. Oh, and before I can use my amazing pun, I have to give a honorable mention. Single of the year, The Hillbillies. This release was a big surprise, and I've loved it since it came out. Last time I heard it was just now, while editing this. It's an upbeat song with Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar going back to their goofy days and goofy ways and just having fun. The only thing that irritated me is the amount of time it took for it to get released on Spotify. I had to use YouTube to listen to music. That is not allowed. Now I can finally say it. Let's end here. And Happy New Year 2 weeks later. Have a great 2024 and watch out for videos, more music and stuff on my socials. Speaking of music, me and Sinjin just released another song like yesterday. I heard it's a banger. Anyway, I won't linger with a goodbye. Goodbye.